You pull up to a Tesla supercharger for the third time this week. The cable clicks into place, and within minutes, your battery jumps from 20% to 80%. It is fast, it is convenient, and according to everything you have read online, it is slowly killing your battery. For years, Tesla owners have been told that frequent supercharging accelerates battery degradation, shortens the lifespan of their most expensive component, and will eventually cost them $15,000 to $22,000 in replacement fees. But here is what nobody is telling you. That might not actually be true. Today, I am going to expose the truth about supercharging and Tesla battery degradation. We're going to look at real data from over 12,500 Tesla vehicles, examine Tesla's own fleet statistics, and separate fact from fiction. By the end of this, you will know exactly what supercharging actually does to your battery, what the real risks are, and how to optimize your charging habits based on evidence, not fear. This is not a listicle. This is a deep investigation into one of the most persistent myths in the Tesla community. Let's get into it. The myth that won't die. If you have spent any time in Tesla forums, owner groups, or online communities, you have seen the warnings. Don't supercharge too often. Fast charging kills your battery. Use superchargers only for road trips, never for daily charging. These warnings are repeated so frequently that they have become accepted wisdom. But where did this belief come from? The logic seems sound. Superchargers deliver 150 to 250 kilowatts of power directly into your battery pack. That is an enormous amount of energy being pumped into lithium-ion cells in a very short time. According to basic battery chemistry principles, high charging rates generate heat. Heat is the enemy of lithium-ion batteries. Therefore, frequent high-power charging must accelerate degradation. The syllogism is clean, logical, and convincing. Tesla itself contributed to this belief. Early owner's manuals and charging documentation included warnings about excessive supercharger use. The company recommended using superchargers primarily for long-distance travel and relying on home charging for daily use. Forum posts and YouTube videos amplified these warnings, often citing anecdotal cases of Tesla owners who supercharged frequently and experienced noticeable range loss. According to battery research from the early days of electric vehicles, the concerns were not entirely unfounded. Early EVs from manufacturers other than Tesla did suffer measurable degradation from frequent DC fast charging. Their battery management systems were less sophisticated, their thermal management was inadequate, and their battery chemistry was less resilient. Those vehicles provided real-world evidence that fast charging could be harmful. But here is the critical question that nobody was asking. Do those early findings apply to modern Teslas with advanced battery management, active thermal control, and years of over-the-air software optimization? The answer might surprise you. What the data actually shows. In 2023, Recurrent Auto, a company that tracks electric vehicle battery health, published a comprehensive study analyzing data from over 12,500 Tesla vehicles. This was not a small sample size. This was not anecdotal evidence from a handful of owners. This was hard data from thousands of vehicles with documented charging habits and measured battery capacity over time. The findings were shocking. According to Recurrent's analysis, there was no statistically significant difference in battery degradation between Teslas that used superchargers heavily and those that relied primarily on slower level 2 home charging. Vehicles that performed over 90% of their charging at superchargers showed degradation rates nearly identical to vehicles that did less than 10% of their charging at superchargers. Let that sink in. The charging method that Tesla owners have been told to avoid, the practice that forums have warned against for years, showed no measurable impact on long-term battery health in a data set of over 12,000 vehicles. Either the entire Tesla community has been operating on false assumptions, or something more complicated is happening. Tesla's own fleet data tells a similar story. According to publicly released statistics from Tesla's engineering team, the average Tesla loses approximately 12% of its battery capacity after 200,000 miles, which is approximately 320,000 kilometers. This degradation rate holds relatively constant regardless of charging habits. Vehicles that supercharge frequently show degradation curves that closely match vehicles that charge primarily at home. Independent researchers have attempted to identify differences by examining extreme cases. They compared Teslas owned by rideshare drivers who supercharged multiple times daily against Teslas owned by commuters who almost never use superchargers. According to long-term tracking data, both groups showed showed degradation in the 10 to 15% range after 150,000 to 200,000 miles. The supercharger heavy vehicles were not failing catastrophically. They were not losing capacity at double or triple the rate of home-charged vehicles. They were degrading at essentially the same pace. This finding shocked battery researchers who expected to see clear separation between the two groups based on fundamental electrochemistry principles. According to statistical analysis of the data, the variance in degradation within each group was actually larger than the difference between groups, meaning individual vehicle differences mattered more than charging method. Some supercharger-heavy vehicles showed only 8% degradation at 200,000 miles, while some home-charging vehicles showed 14% degradation at the same mileage. The overlap was so significant that charging method alone could not predict battery health with any meaningful accuracy. Researchers controlled for other variables including climate, average speed, driving style, and vehicle age to isolate the effect of charging methods specifically. Even after accounting for these factors, the charging method correlation remained statistically insignificant. According to battery health modeling, this suggests that Tesla's battery management system is successfully mitigating the potential damage from high-power charging through active thermal management and sophisticated charge curve optimization. The rideshare drivers in the study were charging at rates of 150 to 250 kilowatts multiple times per day, sometimes 5 to 7 days per week for years. If the fundamental chemistry alone determined degradation, these batteries should have failed dramatically faster. Instead, they survived at rates comparable to gently used batteries charged overnight at 7 kilowatts. This is not what electrochemistry textbooks would predict, which is why the findings challenged conventional wisdom so dramatically. The research also tracked charging speeds over time and found that even the most heavily supercharged vehicles maintain their ability to accept high charging rates for over 100,000 miles before any software throttling occurred. When throttling did appear, it was gradual and affected only peak rates, not the overall charging curve from 10 to 80%. According to detailed analysis of charging session data, the real-world impact of throttling was typically 3 to 5 minutes added to a charging stop, not the catastrophic slowdowns that owners feared. The conclusion from multiple independent studies was undeniable. Tesla had solved the fast-charging degradation problem through engineering, not by asking owners to avoid fast charging. This contradicts everything the Tesla community has believed for years. If frequent supercharging does not significantly accelerate degradation, then what explains the persistent warnings, the forum posts about range loss, and Tesla's own historical guidance to limit fast charging? Why the myth persisted? To understand why this myth became so entrenched, we need to look at the history of electric vehicle battery technology and how information spreads in online communities. The fear of fast-charging damage did not come from nowhere. It was based on real observations from earlier generations of electric vehicles. Early EVs from manufacturers like Nissan used battery chemistry and thermal management systems that were less sophisticated than what Tesla developed. The Nissan Leaf, for example, used air-cooled battery packs without active liquid thermal management. According to battery degradation studies on early Leafs, frequent DC fast charging in hot climates did cause measurable acceleration in capacity loss. These vehicles provided documented evidence that fast charging could be harmful. When Tesla entered the market, battery researchers and early adopters naturally applied lessons learned from these earlier vehicles. The assumption was that all lithium-ion batteries behave similarly, and that the fundamental chemistry dictated that high-power charging would always cause increased degradation. This assumption was reasonable given the data available at the time. Tesla's own early guidance reinforced the belief. Owner's manuals from 2012 to 2016 included language suggesting that frequent supercharger use could impact battery longevity. According to Tesla service documentation from that era, the company recommended balancing supercharger use with home charging. This official guidance from the manufacturer carried significant weight and became gospel in the owner community. Online forums and social media amplified individual cases of range loss. When a Tesla owner noticed their maximum range had decreased and they happened to supercharge frequently, they would post about it online. Other owners would read these posts, see the correlation between supercharging and range loss, and the myth would strengthen. According to social psychology research on confirmation bias, people remember evidence that confirms their existing beliefs and discount evidence that contradicts them. What these anecdotal reports missed was the context. Batteries naturally degrade over time and charge cycles regardless of charging method. Some vehicles degrade faster due to climate, driving habits, or manufacturing variation. But when an owner who supercharged frequently saw degradation, they attributed it to supercharging. When an owner who rarely supercharged saw similar degradation, they attributed it to age or mileage. The confirmation bias was systematic. Additionally, Tesla's battery management software has evolved significantly through over-the-air updates. According to Tesla's engineering blog posts and software release notes, the company has continuously refined charging algorithms, thermal management strategies, and cell balancing procedures. A Tesla from 2023 manages supercharging differently than a Tesla from 2015, even if they use the same hardware. The software improvements have made fast charging safer and less stressful on battery cells. Early Tesla models used more aggressive charging curves that prioritize speed over longevity, but modern software implements adaptive charging that adjusts power delivery based on real-time battery temperature, cell voltage spread, and historical usage patterns. According to battery management engineering documentation, Tesla's algorithms now monitor individual cell group temperatures and can reduce charging current to specific modules that are running hotter than others, preventing thermal runaway and equalizing stress across the pack. The charging curve has been optimized dozens of times through software updates, with each iteration fine-tuning the balance between charging speed and cell longevity based on data collected from millions of charging sessions across the global fleet. Older Teslas that receive these updates retroactively benefit from years of fleet learning, meaning a 2017 Model S today charges more intelligently than it did when new. This continuous improvement through software is unprecedented in automotive history and explains why early warnings about supercharging became outdated even though they were based on legitimate concerns at the time they were issued. But myths die hard, especially when they are repeated for years across thousands of forum posts, YouTube videos, and advice columns. Even as data accumulated showing that modern Teslas handled supercharging well, the old warnings persisted because they had become conventional wisdom. The real risks nobody talks about. If frequent supercharging does not catastrophically degrade Tesla batteries the way people feared, does that mean it is completely harmless? Not exactly. According to deeper analysis of charging behavior and battery management systems, there are real risks and consequences to heavy supercharger use, but they are not what most people think. The first real risk is heat buildup in specific conditions. While Tesla's active liquid cooling system effectively manages battery temperature during normal supercharging, extreme conditions can overwhelm this protection. According to thermal management research, supercharging repeatedly in ambient temperatures above 100 degrees Fahrenheit without allowing the battery to cool between sessions can cause cumulative heat stress. The battery cooling system can dissipate heat during a single supercharging session, but if you immediately supercharge again before the pack returns to normal temperature, the baseline temperature creeps higher. According to battery thermal modeling, this cumulative effect can push battery temperatures into ranges where degradation accelerates. The solution is simple: allow the battery to cool between supercharging sessions, or better yet, avoid supercharging multiple times in a single day in extreme heat. The second real risk is software-imposed charging throttles. Tesla's battery management system monitors charging patterns and can reduce maximum supercharging speed if it detects what it considers excessive fast charging. According to owner-reported data, some high-mileage Teslas that supercharge very frequently have seen their peak charging rates reduced from 250 kilowatts to 150 or even 100 kilowatts. This throttling is not permanent battery damage. It is a protective measure implemented by software to prevent potential damage, but it creates real frustration for owners who rely on fast charging. What used to be a 15-minute charging stop becomes a 25 or 30-minute stop. According to Tesla Service Communications, this throttling can be temporary or persistent, depending on how the vehicle's charging patterns evolve. The third real risk is cost. Supercharging is significantly more expensive than home charging. According to pricing comparisons, supercharging costs approximately 25 cents to 50 cents per kilowatt hour, depending on location and time of day. Home charging typically costs 10 cents to 15 cents per kilowatt hour, depending on local electricity rates. For a vehicle that consumes 300 watt-hours per mile, this difference means supercharging costs $0.075 to 15 cents per mile, while home charging costs 3 cents to $0.045 per mile. Over 15,000 miles per year, the difference between exclusive supercharging and exclusive home charging is approximately $600 to $1,500 annually. Over 10 years, that is $6,000 to $15,000 in additional electricity costs. The battery might survive fine, but your wallet will not. According to total cost of ownership analysis, owners who supercharge exclusively are paying thousands more over the vehicle's life without gaining any real benefit beyond convenience. The fourth risk is battery preconditioning dependency. Supercharging a cold battery causes measurable stress because lithium-ion cells have higher internal resistance at low temperatures. According to electrochemistry research, charging cold batteries forces higher voltages to achieve the same current, which accelerates certain degradation mechanisms. Tesla's navigation system automatically preconditions the battery when you route to a supercharger, warming it to optimal temperature before arrival. But if you show up at a supercharger without routing to it first, or if you supercharge in extreme cold without preconditioning, you are charging a cold battery. According to battery management data, this scenario does cause measurable additional stress compared to charging a preconditioned warm battery. These are the real risks of frequent supercharging, not catastrophic battery failure, not dramatic capacity loss, but heat accumulation in extreme conditions, software throttling that slows future charging, significantly higher costs, and cold battery stress if preconditioning is skipped. These risks are manageable, but they are real. What this means for you. If you have been avoiding superchargers because you feared they would destroy your battery, you can stop worrying. According to the best available data from thousands of vehicles and hundreds of thousands of miles, frequent supercharging does not cause the catastrophic degradation that Tesla owners have feared for years. Your battery is tougher than you think, and Tesla's battery management system is more sophisticated than early warnings suggested. But this does not mean you should supercharge exclusively without consideration. According to practical optimization analysis, the best charging strategy balances convenience, cost, and battery longevity by using the right charging method for the right situation. Use home charging for daily needs. According to time-of-use electricity rates and charging convenience, home charging is cheaper, more convenient, and allows you to wake up every morning with a full battery. Install a Level 2 home charger if you have not already. The upfront cost of $500 to $1,500 for equipment and installation pays for itself within a year or two through reduced charging costs. Reserve supercharging for road trips and situations where you genuinely need fast charging. According to travel planning analysis, superchargers are ideal when you need to add 150 to 200 miles of range quickly during long-distance travel. They are not ideal for daily top-ups when you have access to home charging overnight. Always precondition your battery before supercharging, especially in cold weather. Set navigation to the supercharger destination, and the car will warm the battery automatically. According to charging efficiency data, preconditioning improves charging speed by 30 to 50% in cold weather and reduces stress on the battery cells. This one habit protects against the primary real risk of cold battery fast charging. Avoid charging to 100% daily. While supercharging itself is not as harmful as feared, keeping the battery at 100% state of charge for extended periods does cause measurable degradation. According to battery chemistry research, high voltage stress at full charge accelerates electrolyte decomposition regardless of how you charge the battery. Set your daily charge limit to 80% and only charge to 100% immediately before long trips. Keep your battery between 20 and 80% for routine use. According to cycle life testing, this charge range minimizes degradation regardless of whether you charge at home or at superchargers. The charge limits matter more than the charging speed for long-term battery health. Monitor your charging costs. If you find yourself supercharging multiple times per week, calculate what you are spending and compare it to home charging costs. According to financial analysis, the cost difference might motivate you to adjust your charging habits even if battery health is not a concern. Pay attention to charging speed trends. If you notice your supercharging speeds decreasing over time, your vehicle may be experiencing software throttling. According to Tesla service procedures, contact Tesla to discuss whether the throttling is temporary or if there are underlying issues that need attention. The bigger picture. The supercharging degradation myth reveals something important about how information spreads in enthusiast communities. A belief that started with legitimate concerns about early EV technology became entrenched doctrine that persisted years after the underlying technology had evolved. According to research on misinformation and belief persistence, once a narrative takes hold in a community, it becomes extremely difficult to correct even when new data contradicts it. Tesla owners repeated the warnings about supercharging for years because they wanted to protect their expensive investment. The advice was given with good intentions, but it was based on outdated information from earlier generation vehicles and overly cautious early guidance from Tesla that the company has since refined. The truth is more nuanced than the myth. Frequent supercharging does not destroy Tesla batteries the way forums warned for years. Large-scale data from over 12,500 vehicles proves this. But supercharging is not without consequences. Heat accumulation in extreme conditions, software throttling, significantly higher costs, and cold battery stress are real concerns that smart owners should manage. The optimal strategy is not to avoid superchargers out of fear. It is to use them intelligently as part of a balanced charging approach. Home charging for daily use keeps costs low and provides maximum convenience. Supercharging for travel provides the speed and flexibility that makes long-distance EV travel practical. Preconditioning and smart charge limits protect battery health regardless of charging method. Final thoughts. For years, Tesla owners have been told that frequent supercharging is destroying their batteries. According to the largest and most comprehensive studies available, including data from over 12,500 vehicles and Tesla's own fleet statistics, this simply is not true. Modern Teslas, with advanced battery management systems, active thermal control, and continuously updated software handle frequent fast charging far better than early EVs and better than the myth suggests. The real risks of supercharging are not catastrophic battery failure. They are heat buildup in extreme conditions that require cooling breaks between sessions, software throttling that can slow charging speeds if the system detects excessive fast charging, significantly higher costs compared to home charging, and potential stress from charging cold batteries without preconditioning. These risks are manageable. Precondition before charging. Mix charging methods by using home charging for daily needs and supercharging for travel. Avoid charging to 100% daily. Keep your battery between 20 and 80% for routine use. Monitor costs and charging speeds to ensure your habits remain sustainable. Your Tesla battery is not as fragile as you have been told. The technology has evolved. The software has improved. The data proves that batteries can handle frequent supercharging and still last 200,000 miles with only 12% degradation. But optimization still matters. Smart charging habits save you money, maximize convenience, and provide the best possible battery longevity. The common charging method that everyone feared would destroy batteries turns out to be far less harmful than believed. The real story is more complex, more interesting, and ultimately more optimistic than the myth. Your battery is tougher than you think. Charge it intelligently, and it will last.